Todd, just following up a little bit on Emmett Fitty. I mean, you seem to keep wanting to give him a chance to really show that he can make a push for a job.
Yes, and others, though. We're not just going to give individuals a job. Emmett's earned his keep thus far. There's others that are pushing too now, and then it's beginning to get weeded out. And when I say weeded out, it doesn't mean that the individuals that don't start here will never play here. They just need a little bit of time. They need some experience. So that's really important for those players eventually to understand. Emmett could be one of those guys. I don't know. We have to continue to play games, but there's still a group that we're looking at and trying to figure it out.
And Simon, do you anticipate having him later this week?
I hope so. We'll see how his practice went today. He was fully involved. It wasn't, a pregame skate, a lot of walkthrough, not a lot of action. I know they're working now. Obviously, I'm not out there to see it, but we'll get an update. He's getting close. Opening night, I don't see any reason why he isn't playing, and we'll make smart decisions with him this week as far as games go. He's not going to play tonight or tomorrow. We'll figure that out.
Well, what did you like and didn't like in Pittsburgh and Buffalo?
I thought Pittsburgh was a really ragged game. Not a lot of execution, not a lot of skill plays. Just beating the puck all over the place. And it was both teams. I liked the fact that we got off to a good start. I didn't like the fact that we gave up a 2-goal lead. But it happens, and it gave us a lot of good video to teach from. Then coming into Buffalo, I thought they had a good lineup, tested some of our players, much more skill in the game, better execution all over the place. There we gave up goals in situations that we really haven't worked on, 2 face-off goals. So if we can clean some of that up as far as coverages go and whatnot, but we haven't even talked about it. I thought offensively in Buffalo we created, the Kane line was the line to Brinket and Casper that did most of the creating. So that's a really good sign. The negative sign is where were the rest of them, because we're going to need some depth, creativity, and scoring. And so that's kind of a summary of those two.
With Van Riemsdyk, I don't know if there's an update, but whether there is or not, is there a point where he kind of needs to be here by to be able to go for the start of the year?
Well, he needs to be here as soon as he can be, but again, we're not on the phone saying, hey, drop what you're doing, because that's not what this is about. So can he be ready to play in game 1, even based on today? I don't know until he gets here. And then we got to get him caught up and we got to get him skating. So, he's going to be part of our team. It's just whether he can play right off the bat or not, but that's okay. We'll deal with it.
And then during practice, I think I noticed Kane kind of point something out as you were kind of debriefing it. Like, as a coach, to have a player who thinks the game at his level, how much does that help you as you're concocting and working through some of the
it helps us a lot. If anybody sees things and anticipates things really well, it's him. The problem right now is, I've said this before, he's playing chess. He's like about 7. We're trying to introduce something, and he's 7 plays ahead of everybody else, and we're just trying to keep it simple like checkers. So I keep telling him we'll get to that. We'll get to it. Great question. We'll get to it. But we want the basics down. We want reminders, and some of the young players have never played in what we're trying to teach them. So kind of dealing with the newness and the new kids in the classroom, I guess, as a teacher, not worrying about the ones that have been around as that much.
Officially past the halfway point of the preseason with tonight's game. In terms of the progression from the start of camp to now, what have you been encouraged by, and moving forward, some areas that you still need to implement before opening night in a week or so?
We've had 4 games. We've been able to assess a lot of players in those games. We've just played people, tried to fill up rosters. Some rosters were a little weaker, some were stronger, but the opportunity to evaluate existed, and that'll happen for a couple more games, and then we'll get down to what we need to get down to. In our minds, it's starting to get narrower. When we write stuff on paper. There's not as many names on the paper anymore. That doesn't mean somebody can't come out of the blue and work their way back in, but it's starting to sort itself out. So that's all good. What do we have to work on? Quite a bit of stuff still. You never get everything done, especially for the first training camp with a coaching staff. So we're trying to get the basics in, and we have to grow our game as the season goes on.
Against Buffalo, what did you take most away from Sebastian's performance in goal?
Kos, you're talking Kosa, yeah. I think that Sebastian has an opportunity to really blossom and become an outstanding goaltender, and he'll keep working towards that. Some of the goals that went on in on him were, I don't know if a lot of guys are going to stop them, but that's okay. It's some of the other stuff, the cleanup stuff around the crease, being alert. We took a penalty when he went out and misplayed the puck below the goal line. Those things need to get cleaned up. And that's just being really sharp and alert all game. Even when the play's away from you got to be thinking about what could happen. So I think those are areas that he can clean up, but I'll make no doubt about it. I think he can be a really good goaltender.
And then last season, one of the best things about this team was how strong the power play was. Are you anticipating that being one of the key strengths once again this season?
Well, I sure hope so. We're going to need it to provide a lot of things, momentum, goals, and to this point in camp, they haven't, other than in practice, been able to play too much together just because of rosters and that type of stuff. So the next, not even tonight, but the next few games after, we're hoping to have some lineups where common pieces will be involved in that, certainly the last two games, and get them their reps and that type of stuff. So it has to perform at a high level. I think we were 27% or whatever. That number's pretty significant. Can we realistically think it can stay there? I'd like to think so, but we're probably more concerned about the penalty kill number than the power play number.
When you've got a skilled player like Berggren, who's been used to producing offense throughout his career, but needs to improve defensively, be more responsible, just how much of that is like mental and just needing to bear down, as opposed to something more tactical?
Some of it's that. Some of it's us trying to help them. Some of it's take Bergie out of the mix. Take any player. Some of it's understanding how I need to play without the puck. How I need to play for 17 minutes, 14, 12 minutes a night, so that I have an impact on the game, not just offensively. They have to accept that. Let's face it, most of these kids come from, and Bergie's not a kid, but most of these players come from situations where they were stars on the team and they were counted on basically for offense. Not everybody ends up playing that way in the NHL. I coached Manny Malhotra. He was drafted in the first round to the Rangers, sat beside Wayne Gretzky in the locker room. He tells me this story all the time. Well, his mindset is, I'm going to play with Wayne, I'm going to score goals because I did it in junior and I went, 8th overall. And he said, until I really figured out that I had to do a whole bunch of other things, I was just an all-over player. Nobody was really happy with how I was playing, including myself. And then the light went on, and he said, if I do all of these things, he tended to score a little bit more. Everybody began being happy with him. But he put the time and effort into doing things over and above always just trying to score. And that would be, that's where Bergie is. That's where some guys are. When you jump in your truck and you're coming to the game, you want to score a goal. Like, no one comes here and says, well, I don't want to score. Like, even the tough fighters in the old days, Koch and Proby and those type of guys, they want to score goals. Aaron Downey, when he was here, he wanted to score a goal. But they had to do other things, and that's sometimes where certain players are at in their careers.
And just how did you, the weekend games, come out of it health-wise? Is there anybody that's not available that got?
Yeah, well, we've got JVR. We've talked about him. We have Simon, who's obviously progressing. He's involved in the ice. We got a few other guys with some bumps, bruises, some sore muscles, which normally happens. Nate Danielson got injured in Buffalo the other night. I think it was Buffalo. Yeah, Buffalo the other night, and he'll be out for a little bit. I don't have a time frame, whether it's long or short term, but we'll figure that part over the next few days.
What have been your impressions of Nygaard this camp so far?
Brant's, he's a heavy, hard, competitive player. I think in all areas, whether he has the puck or he doesn't, I think he's got a real good heavy shot that's fairly accurate. And he's another one that's coming over and just adapting to the size of the arena or the rink, the size of the players around him, the pace of play. When the lineup got a little bit better the other night in Buffalo, and fatigue plays into this as well, but I thought Brant's didn't run as much give-go. He would move the puck and kind of stop. It's hard to always keep those legs moving, but that's something that he'll have to work on. I'll tell him that too, but he's well on his way to becoming a real good player. All good?